Yeah, I would do it this way. We kind of categorize teams. There are certain kind of teams that play similar games, and we talk about those teams in groups. So this is a very fast team. They get up the ice really quickly. The game that we played at home against them, it wasn't tremendously physical, but it was so fast that it was a hard game. Both teams spent a lot to play. If you like the speed, the transition, and the danger, this should probably be a really, really good game tonight. We would view them in some ways. I know some of the styles are different, but in terms of what they can do off the rush, a bit like Boston, when you have a Pasternak and a Panarin, the guys who can make those plays through the seams, and their D do get involved in the rush, you have to be really, really diligent in your back check and your stick and those kind of things.
Brendan Montour has been such a difference maker as of late, especially. Just what's been different about
God, if I knew the switch, right, and he wasn't playing poorly before he started scoring, but that's the key. Where does the guy get his confidence? It just wasn't going for him, and we were kind of laughing it'll be a knuckler because he had hit a bunch of crossbars and he had missed a bunch of great chances, and he was really struggling for offense. But he got into some straight line defensive situations, and then he took a shot and was going 5 feet wide of the net. It hit somebody in the butt and it went in, and that's it. He's been on fire ever since. So you see that. Just something good happens and it starts to roll for him. But I thought that the rest of his game got closer to a playoff game, a little bit more straight line. He can be a physical, he's a very strong man. He can be physical in the corners, and that came first, and then now he's up the ice. Now he's back up the ice and skating the way we have seen him.
So you'd agree that your team's playing pretty well right now, right?
We're all right.
Yeah. Is the only problem for this team that it's March 4th right now?
No, I don't. What I'd like to see us do, I didn't care for, two of our last five I didn't really like, but I thought we played a really smart game against Buffalo. And we didn't do anything to feed their game, and then I've liked our last two games. They've been good. So we want to measure ourselves now in our own intelligence. I don't think we're playing our best hockey. I don't. We got about 5 components to our game, and they're all pretty good. And because of that, you have a chance to win. With good goaltending, both special teams have been fairly good, and our 5-on-5 defensive game has been solid. But we're still, I've moved the lines around a lot, and I think probably we'll have to continue to do that. It's just kind of trying to keep guys hot, trying to keep guys in the mix.
To Dan's question, what do you think about the idea of peaking at the right time? Is there such a thing, or is there a way to manage that?
You want to know your game. That's all. Whether you, I guess you could want to go to the playoffs feeling good about your game. I'd like to go into the playoffs feeling good about the defensive game. I'm not particularly worried about the offensive game. In a lot of ways, that seems to disappear. So can we do the right things? The big point playing well defensively is just doing the right things with the puck. I haven't thought a lot about it. I think that our schedule is going to take care of us having too good a feeling here. We got 3-4 game weeks. We've got lots of travel involved. We get banged up here for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we're going to be in a challenge in that part to continue to play at the success rate they have. But that may not mean we're playing poorly. It's just sometimes the schedule takes it out of you. But we'll finish with 4 at home and hopefully be healthy at that point.
I'm not going to tell you which player said it.
Uh-oh.
But one player said
first of all, is it on our team?
It's on your team.
Okay, good.
One player said training camp this year was harder than training camp last year.
Correct.
After a run to the Stanley Cup final, I'm wondering if there was a specific message that you wanted to send, which has resulted in a successful season.
It wasn't me. I can guarantee it. So we ran the exact same training camp last year to the minute, same drills, and we measured the load on these guys, and it was 10% harder each day. The first 5 days are tough here, and it was 10% harder because they pushed harder. They came back in better shape because they prepared for it, and they pushed harder. We didn't. The message was going out. It's the first 5 days are going to suck, so get in shape and then we'll just go through it. Like I would say, we yelled and barked less this year than we did last year because they just do it. It's not punitive. It's just hard, and then everybody accepts it. It's kind of like our game. If it's not going well, just kind of say, fellas, we're not playing anywhere near as hard as we can. And then they kind of go, yeah, you're right, and away they go.
I just wanted to follow up on that and say, like, you know, you talk about measuring where you guys are.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone around the Eastern Conference now is measuring themselves against you guys. So what's it like? to
Yeah,
be
I think it's,
hunted for
you know
the-
what, I think that happened in the last 10 days or so, right? You pop into first and say, hey, Florida doesn't suck. Hey, they must be pretty good down there. And then, like, give it 10 days and you're like, well, they should win everything, maybe even before the playoffs are over, right? It's just the extremes of all of it. But it's good for us to learn to manage that too, what our expectations are. We aren't so good that we'll ever play a game and win on, I think, purely talent alone. We got some talent, we got some skill. We play pretty hard. That's the key to what we do. And when we go into buildings, the other team knows that we play hard, so they play hard, which is the best prep that you can for the playoffs, because it doesn't really matter where you finish. We proved that last year. We'd rather go in as the favorite, just because that's probably better historically, but it won't matter. First game, the puck's going to drop, and everybody's going to go as hard as they can.
I'm curious, you spent a lot of time with Jacob Trouba and
Yeah.
Winnipeg. Just what impressed you most about him kind of as he came into the league a while back?
You know, it was kind of the quiet little thing. Jake comes into the league, and I think he came in originally as, certainly was a hitter when he was younger, but he was really an offensive guy, and he's got really good offensive skills. But he was playing behind Dustin Bufflin, who at the time, on our power play, around that time, Patrick Laine had come in, our power play was just on fire. So he never really got the opportunity. But fairly soon after, he and Josh Morrissey play together, and we end up playing them against the other team's best. So at a very young age, Morrissey, there was a young team there in Winnipeg. Those two guys kind of quietly, when we got to the conference final the one year, because of his play and Josh's play, they were able to shut the other team's best down, and nobody expected it, right? The other coach is going, hey, let's play him against the kids. Except he's smart, he's hard, he plays the game the right way, and the one, in truth, I haven't watched him play as much as clearly as I would have in Winnipeg, but his timing on when to join the rush and when to get in on offense was excellent. So he'd get in and cruise around the crease every once in a while. He'd get in on a forecheck and loop in and loop out and create offense that way for us. But you never had to go to him and tell him to cut back on it. His timing is excellent offensively.
Were you, sorry, have you been surprised at all, or did you expect kind of him to be able to take on a leadership role like he has become?
No, he plays too hard not to, right? He's honest. He's got a high skill level. Maybe you know, the fans here would see the hitting and the defending. He's a very skilled guy. He can make a play to the inside. He can get a shot to the net. But in the locker room, Jake would be a guy that the players would always respond to, because everybody respects skill, but they also respect the guy who can play the game heavy along the walls, and he can.
How would you describe the confidence and belief that your team has in Sergei Bobrovsky?
Well, it's the morning skate today, the save he made at the end, and everybody's cheering, right? So that's all part of it, right? He's this incredible preparer. I mean, if you stick around here, he's going to be lifting weights at some point.
He is.
Right? He's doing some sort of Olympic thing going on that nobody knows. So the first time, what are you doing, man? And then he's this incredible preparer. So we know that he's going to give you his best preparation, his best game. And then he does that to our team in practice all the time. So there's kind of an expectation now that he can pull that off. But you go on a run, and he was so important to us last year in the playoffs, to see it for as long as he did it last year. It's the same faith that you have in, you know, the Barkov's going to play the two-way game, that Matthew's going to find some hands around the net and make something happen. So he's an elite player for us.
Gadjevich back in tonight.
Correct.
The run you guys are on since January 22nd, I think it's 14 to 16. The power plays at like 37%.
Yeah.
Barkov power play draws 65%. How
Right.
much of the success on the power play starts with?
When it ebbs and flows, when it gets really good, all of that factors in, right? There wouldn't be one thing, but the ability not to have to. We're a good entry team, which would be challenged here tonight. These guys do a good job denying, but we are a good entry team. But if you spend a lot of time entering off the start, your numbers just can't be as good. It's just too much time. So we've been fortunate with his strength on the faceoffs and also his ability to move the puck. Jamie Compon runs the power play. I know as much about power plays as they do about goaltending. Just sometimes they say it looks slow. That'd be all I add to it. But they've done a good job. They've all found kind of a role in there that they do well. It's been good. I don't love it when the power play's going that hot. I'd like it just save it for the playoffs. You know what I mean? You'd rather win games on your 5-on-5 game, I think, and on your penalty kill. When you get a little hot like we are right now, it's usually because they're all your systems are rolling. That it'll cool off, it'll heat back up.
Is there a secret for Barkov on faceoffs? Is it just strength or is it something else?
No, I think he works at it. You know, he and Tuomo Ruutu, and Tuomo Ruutu handles that for our group, and he goes through all the centermen, and over time, he's had some pretty good. Joe Thornton was here with Florida, so that impacted him. Just the little secrets of the draw, but you find most good face-off men don't become good until they're older. It just takes time, and now I'm getting old. Eric Stahl was like a 32%er when he came into the league, and then it just takes time, and then at 28, 29, then he becomes dominant. It's a learned skill.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.